What's good, and welcome to a special rant edition of the Elbow Drop Podcast. Today it's just me, Bobby Miller, and I'm going to discuss a hot topic here lately, and that is the women's version of the PWI 250 list. And what's been floating around is the top 10 of that list, so we're basically going to start there. And I don't have too many issues with the top 10. Shout out to Toni Storm, who I don't have a problem with being number one. Some do, but I don't have an issue with her being number one. She's had a phenomenal year as that timeless Toni Storm character. But there is one problem that I have with the top 10 list, and that involves somebody who I don't feel should be on that top 10 list, and that is Bayley. Yeah, Bayley had won the Royal Rumble earlier this year. Yes, Bayley defeated Io Sky for the women's championship in a pretty decent match. However, first of all, let's talk about the build to WrestleMania and how that was lackluster, and she was completely overshadowed by two bigger stars in that of Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch, even though she had won the Royal Rumble. Let's talk about her actual reign as champion, which was lackluster. You barely remember anything about her title reign all in 2024. You want to know some names who I will put above Bayley in that top 10? Hell, you can go with Liv Morgan side by side. Liv Morgan has had the better championship reign than Bayley, and it's not been close. She's been involved in one of the best storylines, period, man or woman, going on in WWE for the most part of 2024. Hell, you can even say that Nia Jax has an argument above her, because ever since Nia Jax has won the title from her, she's made the title feel more important. Her storyline has been more creative and more entertaining, so to speak, than anything Bayley was involved in as champion. But you want to know the biggest glaring name that should really be in that top 10 and really above Bayley and really above, like, at least those last four that's in the top 10, period. That is none other than the NXT Women's Champion, Roxanne Perez. I feel like she's been disrespected. She had an appearance in the Royal Rumble earlier this year. She's been the champion all of 2024. Has had good matches against some of the best NXT talent. She had a good match and one of the most looked forward to matches with Julia. And number 2 on this list, Jordynne Grace, came in and made a splash in NXT. And who did they put her against? None other than Roxanne Perez for the Women's Championship, and they had a good match. Roxanne Perez has been putting on banger after banger after banger, and honestly, she's felt like damn near the most important women's champion, not only in WWE, but in the whole wrestling universe. Roxanne Perez deserves to be in that top 10 and not even 10. But there's one thing outside of the top 10, the top 20, the top 25, any of that I noticed, and that kind of grinded my gears a little more than anything. And I looked at the entire 250 wrestler list. I looked at it forwards, backwards, up, and down, because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't tripping. And my biggest issue with the whole entire list is that there was a name that wasn't included in the 250 wrestlers at all. And that is Mercedes Moné. You can't sit here. I don't care how you feel about her. I don't care how unpopular you think she is. You cannot sit here and tell me that there are 250 wrestlers in this world that are better than Mercedes Moné, or have had a better year than Mercedes Moné, however you want to put it. It's impossible. The fact that she has been the TBS champion all of this year, the fact that she defeated, who was it, number 6, I think it was on this list, Stephanie Vaquer. She defeated her for the Japan Strong Women's Championship or whatever it's called, and she held those two belts simultaneously for a portion of this year. And she is still the TBS champion. That should be enough to say that she's at least 250. Also, one thing, if you look at a lot of the wrestlers on that list, on the official list, what they did was they highlighted some accomplishments that kind of gave them their reasoning for putting them where they put them on the list. If you look at most of the wrestlers on that list that aren't WWE competitors, and you look at their accomplishments, there is a bunch of battle Mercedes Moné on such and such and such and such. Wrestled Mercedes Moné in such and such and such and such. Defeated Mercedes Moné for such and such and such and such. So you mean to tell me all of these little independent women or not so featured women on AEW here and there, you put them on the list and you acknowledge that one of their biggest accomplishments is even being in the ring with Mercedes Moné this year, but yet you don't think Mercedes Moné is at least a number 250 wrestler on this list? That doesn't make any sense to me. That whole omission doesn't make sense to me, and it screams hate. Which a lot of people, is the fun thing right now to hate Mercedes Moné, but however you feel about her, she should at least be on the list, even if you think she's at the bottom. But hey, let me know if I'm tripping. Let me know if I'm wrong about anything. You know, voice your opinions in the comment section and all of that good stuff. And keep an eye out on the Elbow Drop podcast, because the gang will be back soon. But until then, I am Bobby Miller, and I will see you guys next time.